Opening September 27th, the IPFW Department of Theater's production of 5 Women Wearing the Same Dress tells the story of a grandiose wedding reception at a Knoxville, Tennessee estate where 5 reluctant, identically clad bridesmaids hide out in an upstairs bedroom to avoid the proceedings below. As the afternoon wears on, these 5 very different women discover some common bonds in this wickedly funny, irreverent, and touching celebration of the women's spirits. Joining me today are Halee Bandt, one of the actresses in the show, and Mark Ridgeway, the scenic designer from 5 Women Wearing the Same Dress. Welcome to you both to Arts Weekly. Thank you very much for joining me.
Thank you.
Sir.
Well, you're in rehearsal right now, Halee, is that correct?
Yes.
And you open on the 27th.
Yes.
So
yes.
we're a week and a half out.
Yes, we're going into Tech this weekend and Tech Week next week. So.
Oh, all right, terrific. Halee, tell me a little bit about your background in the theater.
Well, I actually began theater when I used to live in Michigan with a community youth theater when I was 8. Ever since then, I've been involved in community productions. We moved to Fort Wayne when I was about 13. And then since then, I've been involved in the area with Fort Wayne Civic, Fort Wayne Youth Theater, First Pres, and now I am here.
Wow, you've made the boards here in Fort Wayne, as they say.
I tried.
And how long have you been at IPFW?
This is my 3rd year, at the beginning of my
So
third
you're
year.
a junior?
Yes.
And what enticed you about IPFW?
Well, there were a lot of things that enticed me about IPFW. I had had experience with multiple professors on campus through workshops when I was in high school. Honestly, it came down to the size of the department and the affordability, the ability to obtain a theater degree without accruing a large amount of debt.
Right. You and I met a long time ago
Yes, we
when
did.
you were just a young lady in our summer musical theater intensive, wondering who that gray-haired man was telling me to smile and dance faster.
Yes,
Yes.
indeed.
Yes. Well, IPFW is lucky to have you.
Well, I'm lucky to be here.
What brings you to 5 Women Wearing the Same Dress? Can you tell me a little bit about what the play is about, what the title means?
Well, as you stated in the opening, 5 Women Wearing the Same Dress, it takes place after the wedding reception, and it's in this bedroom of one of the bridesmaids of this lovely bride named Tracy that we learned that doesn't really have many actual friends. So it's kind of an interesting, plot about these 5 women. All of their connection with Tracy is kind of mentioned throughout the show, but then how that connects them to each other.
Were they connected prior to Tracy? Or?
Some of them were. Some of them were either we have 2 women who are cousins, we have a few who are friends in college. So there are those little connections, but the 5 of them as a unit were not connected until this show began.
And you're playing the character of Meredith.
Trisha.
Trisha. I probably should know that.
You probably should.
I should.
That's okay.
Trisha, tell me about Trisha.
Well, Trisha she's one of the older women in the group, and by older I only mean 30s, not, but she's definitely, I would describe her as a woman of the world. She has had many an experience, but come away from it stronger. I would say she's one of the stronger ladies in the room. When she walks into a room, she lights it up. She's electric. She has this certain energy and sense of humor about her that just kind of really is magnetic.
Right. Because there's 5 people, it's an ensemble piece, I would imagine.
Oh, definitely.
And it's a comedy. It's an adult comedy?
Yes, definitely. It's got a heart to it, that's for sure, but definitely the content of it is adult content.
Okay, and the style is contemporary drama or contemporary comedy.
Yes, contemporary realistic.
What are the challenges for you in that?
Well, the biggest challenge for me is approaching a comedy from a realistic standpoint. I've done comedies before, Shakespearean comedies, Moliere, more classical, but those are more stylized. And you can kind of, play large, play big. This, you really do have to find the real nature of these characters, which leads to the comic element. So.
Are you on stage a long time? I mean,
Yeah.
You are.
I come in about 7 pages into the first act, and then I don't really leave again.
You don't really leave. All right. Often contemporary dramas sometimes are called dramedies.
Yes.
Because they have a fair amount of drama in them too. Can you say that about 5 Women Wearing the Same Dress?
I would definitely agree with that. With this show, it deals with some very real issues and some very weighty topics, and it doesn't necessarily make light of them. It takes them seriously, but it surrounds those issues with this heartfelt comedy to really kind of take you on this roller coaster of emotion.
Who is the target audience for 5 Women Wearing the Same Dress, do you think?
Oh, I would say it appeals to a lot of audiences, but I think it's going to be the younger generation, 20s crowd, you know, looking for something that, you know, is makes you think, but they find funny as well. But I think there's also an element of it that will appeal to, you know, the older crowd as well.
And I think our viewers would be interested in the playwright.
Alan Ball.
Alan Ball. And tell me a little bit about his history, because they might know him from something else.
Right. Alan Ball was actually a writer on True Blood, which I think was definitely the one that stuck out to me as, you know...
I think he's the creator of True Blood.
Yes. Yeah, and so, you know, that's become a hit, a huge hit, and, you know, rightfully so. It's a wonderful show. But I think that's probably one that most people would hear and recognize.
And 6 Feet Under, right? The television show wasn't on cable, it was on regular network television. What are the rehearsals like for you, 5 women wearing the same dress?
It's a very positive rehearsal experience because it is an ensemble piece. You know, most everybody is there all the time. We do have one man in the show, but he doesn't.
You have a man in the show.
We do, but he doesn't come in till later. So, but all of us women are there pretty much every night together. Have spent a lot of time together in the last few weeks. But it's a challenging rehearsal process because it's stretching my abilities as an actress, but it's very, I think, a positive experience.
Yeah. In what way is it stretching? It's a southern play, so...
Yes. Well, first of all, you have the dialect to deal with.
Dialects to deal with, okay.
Which is a challenge in and of itself. But on a higher level than that, Trisha, there's a lot of things about her as a character that I do find in myself, but in other ways, she is very opposite from me as well. So it's finding the balance of maintaining that realism when you're playing somebody that's not really, you know, very much like you.
Right.
But also, I think, the comedy itself, because I don't have much experience with comedic acting.
And sometimes contemporary comedy can be much more challenging than larger style, like you said, Moliere, Shakespeare, when you can be a little bit over the top.
Yes.
That's sometimes easier to approach from an acting standpoint than a contemporary comedy. Mark Ridgeway, thank you for joining me.
Thank you for
Your position at IPFW is the...
I am Associate Professor of Scenic and Lighting Design.
All right, so you get to do a little bit of both of it all year long.
All year long.
Yeah, 4 shows, you're doing something in...
Something in everyone, sometimes both.
Sometimes both. Yeah, you do like to do both sometimes.
I do sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes you and that Jeff Gazaza get your heads going and there's no separating you. They get a vision. And
dangerous combination.
Yes. Well, when I was chair of the department, I used to think, oh my God, this is going to be costly. These two are getting together. Don't let them go to lunch, please.
That's always a dangerous
thing. It comes
thing.
out with a big ticket item on it, yes. Tell us a little bit about the design process that you go through personally when you are asked to do a play.
Sure. First, of course, I like to read it, especially if I don't know the show, if I've never done it before, if I haven't read it. And this is one that I haven't read before, haven't seen. So wanted to read the script, see what it was like, get to know the characters, get to know where they're at. They're in a bedroom setting, so, and they're also in Knoxville, Tennessee. I actually did live in Chattanooga for 4 years before I came here to Fort Wayne. So I knew the area, the kind of East Tennessee area fairly well. And kind of had an idea of where that might be, what it might look like, but still wanted to investigate do some research in terms of what do bedrooms look like in a fairly well-off family's home.
A mansion, I would imagine.
Yeah, really nice home.
Yeah.
So looked at that, certainly had conversations with the production team about what we wanted to do with the show, what kinds of things we wanted to explore, and one of the main characters, Meredith, it's her bedroom, okay?
Right.
And even though it's her bedroom, her mother is the one probably decorating this room when they first buy the house.
Right.
And probably her sister was the one who had this bedroom. So what we looked at is Meredith inherited this bedroom, really didn't go with who she was, what she liked. And so we wanted to have this incongruous kind of Meredith space, not being her space, but trying to make it her space.
Well, you're kind of, indicating to a certain extent that Mother and Tracy's taste was completely something, what would you call it?
Very Laura Ashley, very feminine, very floral, not something that Meredith would find.
And because the play takes place in 1990, early 1990s, 93. A lot of Laura Ashley.
Yes.
Everywhere in 1993.
Yeah. Comments of Laura Ashley throw up in the bedroom were thrown around in production meetings. So
nice.
So we wanted to really capitalize on that and get some really ostentatious, florally feminine wallpaper
Right.
and make it look like that Laura Ashley bedroom.
And this is in the Williams Theater, which has a challenge as a designer.
It does.
Because it's a thrust proscenium, and we've got sightline issues, etc. And this is a fairly realistic set. I mean, it has to be a box set.
It is. And box sets in thrust can be problematic.
Absolutely.
Because you have to lose some of the walls so that you have the audience being able to see most of the action most of the time.
Right.
And so those sightlines do get in the way sometimes.
You provided some drawings for us. I wonder if Leo can bring up the drawings on the screen. I think you provided, this is a elevation of the window that our viewers are seeing now. It's really very detailed. You have to mark out exactly what the person has to build. And that's part of your job as the designer.
Yes, because I don't build the stuff that I design. So I have to be very specific and draw exactly what I want them to build and how it needs to function. So the more specific I am, the better off it will look, and the more it will look like I want it to look.
Right, right. I noticed on the drawings there's wainscoting of some sort in the bedroom as well. I think you're doing a floor treatment that's kind of special as well. We have an image of that up as well. Are you laying wood down?
No, we're not laying wood down. I'm also a fairly good scenic artist, accomplished scenic artist, and
Scenic painter.
Often I will paint my own floors to make it look like wood, and most of the audience, by the time they're 15, 20 feet back, can't really tell the difference.
They think we've laid a floor. They think we are made of money.
And it's much quicker.
It's much quicker to paint it.
Much more inexpensive.
Absolutely. 20 feet, and, as we say in the theater, 20 feet and bright lights forgives a lot of things.
It covers a multitude of sins.
A multitude of cheap paint sins.
It does.
That's right. Can you tell us, Halee, how to get tickets or information about Five Women Wearing the Same Dress? It's the box office is...
Yes, it's the Larson Ticket Office on our campus, and you can find that on our website. There's definitely, you can buy tickets on the website for the box office.
The ticket information is 260-481-6555, 260-481-6555, or the website is www.ipfw.edu/theater. Well, thank you both very much for joining me today. Good luck with Five Women Wearing the Same Dress.
Thank you.
Or swearing the same dress. I'm John O'Connell, Dean of the IPFW College of Visual and Performing Arts. Please tune in next time on Arts Weekly when guest host Melinda Haynes will visit with J.L. Nave about the Fort Wayne Philharmonic's opening night, September 28th, and then their upcoming season. Then Leslie Horman and Greg Stieber stop by to share the details behind Fort Wayne Youth Theater's upcoming production of Little House on the Prairie, Mary's Story, opening October 4th. For up-to-the-minute arts updates, you can find us on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. And be sure to join us here live Thursday evenings at 7:30 on PBS 39. Thank you for watching Arts Weekly.